this. This is day 31 of the 30-day challenge, blank challenge. And today we are going to be live reading Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven while blanking. Yesterday we did 5 minutes and it was brutal and I barely made it through. I've only been able to read The Raven in 6 minutes and 30 seconds while just kind of casually sitting in a chair. And that's a kind of a brisk but understandable pace. It's not too aggressive, too fast. So we'll see how I do today. I imagine I'm going to have to read it faster. It's probably going to get faster and faster. I apologize if there's any swearing, because there might be. I'm also going to record or run the stopwatch so I can see how long it took to read this, knowing that I'm probably going to fail here at some point to do a pike, and I still wanted to have a record of how long it took me to do this, because that's going to be my goal for November, of how long to get to. So it takes me 6 minutes, 30 seconds. That's what I want to be able to do by the end of November. Make sense? I'm an old man, so we wear glasses. It's supposed to be a live stream, but it just wasn't working for whatever reason. It just kept bouncing back after a second. So I had to do it this way. I'm also going to, as soon as I start the stopwatch, flip it over, because I'll be looking to see what time it is constantly. I won't be able to stop looking at it, and then I'll lose my place. Changing pages is going to be really interesting too. Probably should have practiced this. How's that spooky lighting going for us? Okay. Happy Halloween, everybody. And we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, go. Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over many quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Distinctly I remember it was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I had sought to borrow from my book surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore, nameless here forevermore. And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain thrilled me, filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to the still beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door, some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door. It is this, and nothing more." Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming, dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken was the whispered word Lenore. This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this, and nothing more. Back into the chamber turning, all my soul within me burning, soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before. "Surely," said I, "surely this is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more." Open here I flung the shutter, when, with many flirt and flutter, there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not the least obseisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lord or lady, perched above my chamber door, perched on a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore. "Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art thou no craven, ghastly grim, and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore? Tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with a name such as nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely on the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour. Nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till I scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, on the morrow he will leave me, and my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, nevermore. Startled at the stillness broken by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock and stock caught from Sodoma, some unhappy master whom a merciful disaster followed fast and followed faster till the songs one burden bore, till the dirges of hope that melancholy burden bore of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling all my fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of the bird and busting door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself to linking, fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghast gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in crooked nevermore. This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining that the lamplight gloated o'er. But whose velvet violet lining with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed by an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, and nepenthe from the memories of Lenore. Quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still of bird or devil, whether tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted, tell me truly, I implore. Is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, by that heaven that bends us above us, by that God we both adore. Tell his soul with sorrow laden, if with distant maiden, it shall clasp a saint and maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. Clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels named Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our friend, our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked at starting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of the lie that thou hast spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from off my door. And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just above my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of demons that is dreaming, and the lamplight o'er him streaming throws his shadows on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor shall be lifted nevermore. 6 minutes, 44 seconds. It wasn't a perfect plank, but I'm really impressed that I actually stayed up the entire time. I started losing feeling in my arm because I have a bulging disc in the side. I apologize for the stumbling. It got real hard there in the middle, and I could feel my form falling apart. But 6 minutes 44 is what I'm going to work at for November to get rock solid and great. Thank you guys for joining me for this, for those of you who showed up. Have a great Halloween. I've been terrified about this all week long, and I'm glad that it's finally over, and I'm glad that I didn't actually have to take a knee. I hope when I look back at this, I'll go, oh yeah, I did okay. I'm going to feel it tomorrow. Have a great week, have a great November, and congratulations for everything you've accomplished this month. You've learned so much more about yourself, and you've learned so much more about what you're capable of. And I'm so proud and honored that I got to have a chance to be a part of that. And that's all I got. And so I leave you